Alrighty, so this is a video about how to convert your early model Opel GT with fixed, as in fixed in place, side rear windows to pop out rear side windows. This is a rebuilt, completed, ready to install pop-out window. These are referred to as the hinges, but they don't hinge. They're locked in place. What they've done is they've made the bolt holes kind of loose, and there's a little bit of play in the plastic or nylon spacer washers that are on there. This one has been rebuilt with the new stainless steel hardware. You probably have on an old car chromed steel ones that are rusty. They take a 5mm, approximately 5/16, possibly 3/8 inch long bolt with a serrated washer, because these will sit open. You'll want a washer on there. You will definitely want to put some blue or red Loctite on the threads, like a lot, here, and at the screw that's at this little U-shaped pivot thing. All right. Before you get started, you might as well paint your hinges so that they're nice and shiny and nice and black. This part is aluminum. The rest of it is chromed die cast, and you can wrap them up and give them a hit of black paint, or maybe you want it to match the interior car. I've got one car with a beige interior. Now, just as an FYI, oh, by the way, the lettering on the window is approximately right here at the top. You want to be able to read it. If you can't read it, you've got the wrong side on that car. And this one belongs on the other side of the car. So keep that in mind. They are different shapes. Now, this is a fixed window that I've got decals on, and this is just for your knowledge, fixed windows are a bit shorter than, I don't know if you can see that, but it's roughly 10mm or 3/8 shorter. I don't know if you can see this, but this is where there's a big, it's flat, it's pretty much flush until you get here, and the different shape of the glass is about 3/8 of an inch. They serve different functions, these windows, so they made them differently. Fixed window glass is also about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less, higher also. Just an FYI. Now, on my yellow car, which we're going to go outside and see, I had done a previous modification where I bought linear actuators that would open and close my windows with a switch. This is a little bracket that I mounted to the top of the deck below the rear window, and it worked fine, but it's just a gimmick, and I really like pop-out windows, and yeah, I could put them back in, but I actually have another use for these elsewhere in the car. Now, here's the thing with pop-out windows that's the only hard part. This is the window opening that I cut out of the donor car that I got my latches from. I sliced it out here with an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, and then smoothed it off and everything. On a pop-out window car, there is a flat metal area right here that's at basically a 45-degree angle to the glass. So it's about like that. And all you really need to know is that the two screw holes on the latch are close, if not touching, the inner arc of the window rubber flange. The reason I've done this is because you can get the first two screws in no problem. You just lay the hinge up there, mark, and you push it so that it's tight up against the flange, or this flange opening here, and drill those two screw holes. Problem is when you try to get the third one in, it will tighten the latch so that it's almost flat to the car. This will make the hinge not this will make the latch not work properly. The latch has a spring-loaded ball bearing located in this part, and this part is sort of cam-shaped so that it locks closed and locks open. Locks closed and locks open. So what I chose to do is I cut the hunk of metal out of the pop-out window car, and I run my screws through the metal plate and into the car, the first two. Back here, I decided to just nut and bolt it. Then I've got a fourth hole over here. Now, not everybody's going to want to do it that way. You can't really see it on the black interior. We'll see what happens when I put these in my beige interior. I'm sure it's not going to bother me all that much. But with this then bent and shaped, I can then put a third screw, which it'll stop the latch from pivoting on the only two bolts that you've got holding it in. When you get out there and start to see what you're doing and get those first two screw holes drilled, you'll see. Now, what other people have done is they have made a heavier piece of metal and sort of folded over the edge, a triangular shaped piece, and they have folded over the edges about that much in the back to keep this thing cocked at the 45-degree angle. Someone else told me that they simply stuck a nut underneath and ran the screw into the body. I tried that. Didn't work out good for me, at least not to my satisfaction. I felt that actually having a long piece of metal there works. Each to his own. Deal with the solution to this in your own way. Now, these things are a pain in the ass to get apart. The pivot, you have to separate this. This part here attaches to a U-shaped piece that fits in there. They've used what is essentially a rivet. It's 5 millimeter in diameter, approximately an inch long, maybe 1.125 long. And what they did is I think it must have been partially drilled, like 3/16 of an inch deep. And they slid it in there, and then they crimped or crunched it so that the hole would flare outwards and hold the pin in place. I drilled them out, and it didn't make it so that I could reuse them. So for temporary, I just have an extra 5mm bolt that I slide in there. And voila, I've got a hinge, or rather a latch, fastened to my car. And this would kind of go, actually I got that on backwards. But you get the idea. So this part here will be on this side, like that. So, as far as where to put the drill holes here, you slide this into the window opening and shove it as far forward. This is the front of the car, as far forward as it'll go. There we go. The bolt finally fell out. The glass will stop against this curved area here. Put it in. See how it looks on the car. All things tend to sag, as many of us older men know. So you might want to partially have it set a little bit high. You're really not going to have much adjustment variance in putting these in. Mark your holes, drill them, and use a countersunk, preferably stainless steel, sheet metal screw, about 1 inch long, to fasten these to the car. The window basically flexes on the bolts. It flexes on the things here, and it flexes on your screws just enough. It only opens about 3 inches, and if you try to push it any farther, it really doesn't go anywhere. So that's how you first put this part on. Then go at this end, once you have the other stuff put on, which I'll tell you about next. See how the base of your latch lines up with the body, and some of the things I mentioned earlier will become apparent. You've only got a curved area about the thickness of your finger to get 2 screws into, and then the car ends up flat, and you don't really have a convenient, nice, clean way to get the 3rd screw in. So that's why I kind of came up with this little contraption. All right, so that is how the glass is. This is a piece of brand new pop-out window chrome. It is specially shaped, so on like a 30-degree angle there, and it's got 8 bolt hole slots. Now, the rubber just lays on top of this. Nowhere have I seen it written that you're supposed to glue anything to. Nowhere does it say you're supposed to glue the rubber to the chrome. This is used chrome from one of my donor cars that I got my hinges from. And I detect glue along here. It's not necessary, Pop-out windows really aren't very watertight. They do leak a little bit, especially if you're blasting a hose at them. But they get the job done. They are referred to as deluxe side windows. Regular side windows are just side windows, and they came in two types, one for the American style cars, I think it's the GTAL, and in Europe, the ones without chrome around the window rubber were called GTJ cars. There's three types of side window rubber. There's fixed window glass rubber without a provision to put chrome around it. There's another type which has a little rubber flap and everything, and you buy special chrome and kind of crimp it around, and it holds the rubber in place. Actually, pretty good, better. And then there's the pop-out rubber, which it's a lot like door rubber in that you've got a U-shaped piece which clips over the flange around the window, and then has a bulb or a flap that just sort of lays on top of here. The pop-out chrome does have a U shape right on the end, seemingly for the purpose of crimping it onto the rubber. Yeah, well, good luck with that. You'll end up screwing up the chrome if you try to crimp it. I don't care what kind of method you use, it's going to be really hard, because you're probably going to have to, you would have to do that after you get this installed. Now, I'm going to go out to the car, show you how to position the chrome, and so forth. Now, the other part of this video is I like louvers. And the louvers we can currently get, in fact, you can't even get side window louvers. The really good ones that we used to be able to get have just beautiful 45-degree bends on them, and they just look great, and they absolutely match the rear window louvers in their shape and design. They're designed for fixed windows, and you flex them and you kind of bend the little feet that are on the ends of the louvers. I'll use this as an example. This is what I call the feet, this little part over here. And you flex them a little bit and you tuck them in under the rubber and you shove them together and you get them right, and you've got louvers. This is a prototype of a new kind of louver that's being made. It looks like the nice deluxe louvers, but it's all made in one piece. This is a one-off prototype. Call Opel GT Source. Tell them that you're interested in these. The more people that are interested in getting louvers, the greater the likelihood he will come up with the cash to pay somebody to make these. All right. I'm pretty sure he's going to make two different types, one for fixed windows and one for pop-out windows, but maybe not. But the windows are a different length, so maybe he will have to make two different shapes. So that's in the works. There is a vertical piece at the B pillar, the vertical pillar. And they actually fit to the body different on all three sides. The top, pretty much the chrome is flush with the body. Doesn't stick out. It's not recessed. It's pretty much dead flush with the body metal as it comes down. The bottom, however, the body has to stick out about 1/4 of an inch. along the length of the bottom part. Why? I don't know. The vertical piece needs to be recessed 1/8 of an inch from the B or door pillar. All right, so keep that in mind. I use very flat head self-tapping sheet metal screws and stainless steel to hold them on. That gets the job done. The original cars, I think, used a standard Opel sheet metal screw. Okay, so now please bear with me because I don't want to have to edit this video. I'm going to take this stuff outside to my cars while the camera is running, so I have to move my tripod. Sorry about this, but I'm unprepared and I don't have a cameraman. All right, this is my red car that I just completed doing this mod to. And you can see that I have louvers on pop-out windows. Normally you can't do this. Open up about 3 inches. And closed, they look like that. And I have them like that on both sides of my car. You can see that's what they look like from behind. Now we're going to go inside the garage and look at my yellow car. All right, bear with me while I grab a couple of things. All right, my window rubber is brand new, and I'm gonna try to pull it out. Yep. Let's see. No, I'm not going to be able to get that off of there. Okay. Alrighty. I've loosened up the rubber, and there's your fixed window glass and fixed window rubber with the flap that is made to be grabbed by the pop-out window chrome. I have already had pop-out windows mounted to this car. So here we go. And like I said, you put this in there. Now ideally you would put, I don't happen to have the pop-out window rubber. I'm waiting for that to come in. And you would ideally put the rubber on thump it on with a hammer or a wood block. Make sure that the corners are perfect here and there. And then you should put your window in and shove it forward as far as it'll go, because you'll need some room back here. Position it, make sure it's fairly even in various dimensions and locations, and drill your holes over here and get those hinges attached. Once you have those hinges attached, you can now play around with seeing how well the latch fits. I'm going to freehand